Hi there. A person who claims their past life was on another planet does so at their own risk. After all, they must have compelling arguments to be able to convince the world that this is true. Otherwise, they will simply be ridiculed by the masses. And today, we will talk about some people who still dare to take this leap. In October 2015, 13-year-old Li Zihong from Changsha, Hunan Province, China, ran away from home, leaving a farewell letter to his parents. In it, he called himself a 139-year-old prince of the stars and nights from the planet Buzuyomu, located at a distance of 600 billion light-years from the Earth. He stated that their real son had died in kindergarten, and he decided to take the shape of the dead child after his spacecraft had an emergency landing on Earth. Further, Zihong writes that his time has come to return to his home planet since something bad has happened, and his subjects are waiting for him to fly to release them. I am not a child, and I think you Earthlings are too verbose. But still, thanks for your concern, Mom and Dad. In conclusion, the guy asked him not to search for him, and not to tell anyone about his real origin. At the end of the short text, he left a number of incomprehensible signs. After finishing the letter, Li left home with a black backpack and a sum of money about 100 yuan in his pocket. His parents immediately reported this to the police. According to the boy's mother, the letter may be associated with a fad of computer games or a science fiction novel, which he had read shortly before his disappearance. True or not, it is difficult to say now, because so far, nothing is known about Zihong. Do you think he still returned to his homeland? In 1998, a certified hypnotherapist, Helen Billings, from Mill Valley, California, in an interview with a UFO magazine, spoke about an unusual event from her practice. A woman came in for her appointment with a severe case of bronchial asthma, which is primarily an allergic disease. Helen offered to find the cause of the allergies in her past. For 2 sessions of deep hypnosis, the patient was able to rewind the film of life back up to infancy. But they could not find the cause of the disease. In the 3rd session, they agreed that with the help of hypnosis, they would try to make her remember her past life. And so they did, and the woman saw herself on board the interstellar ship, dressed in an unusual spacesuit. To Helen's qualifying question, "Have you really been in the past?" she answered affirmatively. But to the question, "Are you a resident of Earth?" she answered, "No." The woman could not remember the name of her planet, but said that in that life she was an onboard doctor of an intergalactic expedition. They experienced a sudden accident which led to the depressurization of the onboard compartment, and the entire crew died from suffocation. That was the cause of the asthma in her real life. According to Dr. Billings, shortly after the cause was established, the asthma attacks completely stopped. Those who managed to communicate with Boris Kiprianovich, or as his name is often called, Boriska, they all agree that they are skeptical of everything that the guy said, and the way that he talked, he had a strange way of communicating. He had too much serious information for his age, to which he would dump on the interlocutor. Boriska was born in the city of Volsky, Russia on January 11, 1996. At the age of 1.5, he could already read large newspaper font and could easily fold out the parts of it and design a figure into a perfect geometric shape. At 2, he drew with a pencil, and at age 2.5, with paints. The boy was taken to kindergarten at the age of 2, where the teachers noted his phenomenal memory. His parents noticed that from time to time Boriska seemed to fall into a trance, and sometimes he spent hours animatedly talking about flights to other planets, megaliths, and the earthly country of the third race, the mainland of Lemuria, to which he had once flown from Mars. Nobody taught him, but much of what Boriska shared plunged into shock, his mother said. Space and space scenes were his favorite topic since he was 2 years old. The boy said that Mars is still inhabited. Now, a few of his people have had to cope with the problem of aging and live in underground cities. According to him, at that time he often flew to Earth and outside the solar system for research purposes, and he himself controlled the spacecraft. It would be nice if we could confirm his words with some real evidence, right? If you believe the information of direct participants in contact with aliens, they will tell you not all aliens are friendly towards people. Protein forms of life in the universe, according to the latter, are a rare phenomenon. They feel they have the right to conduct experiments on people. After all, we are experimenting freely with those we consider lower in intelligence, like mice, or, for example, with monkeys. Eric Vorner had vivid impressions of meeting with the alien mind in the late 70s. A gray man kidnapped him from his friend's house at the age of 12. In the evening, the boys were watching TV. When he suddenly turned to him, he recoiled and said that his eyes were completely black and increased in size. Eric went to his friend while paying attention to the clock, which showed 12 a.m. at night. As soon as he touched the shoulder of his friend, he managed to notice that he inexplicably appeared standing on his left, and not understanding what happened, Eric asked, "What the hell happened?" And here, Vorner noticed that it was already 6 a.m. in the morning. But it was impossible to restore the events of that night, until 36 years later, in a therapy session with hypnotherapist Yvonne Smith. At this point, Eric saw himself lying motionless on a T-shaped bed with his arms scattered around. A creature in a dressing gown resembling a thin metal mesh was bustling around. From the spherical ceiling, a cranked arm instrument with a string resembling a scorpion's tail arose and began to manipulate. After the gray man took the samples of interest, they moved him to a strange place outside the laboratory. There was no gravity. He saw a strange structure resembling a giant machine, parts of which were in constant motion. After it, he returned to the table and then to Earth, to the room of his friend. With such a story, it was possible to easily write it as a plot for some kind of blockbuster film. But what it all means is not yet clear. And now we will be transferred to a hypnosis session at the clinic of Dr. Alba Weinman, the student of the recognized master of regressive hypnosis Dolores Cannon. Hypnotherapist comment: usually during a session, we manage to look into one or two past earthly lives, but this time the client, immersed in a trance, unexpectedly transferred to Mars. There, in one of the past lives, the young man saw himself as a warrior, but it was somewhat strange. On the surface, I see an object. This is a military facility similar to a bunker. What else can you see? What is in your hands? A weapon. What is this weapon? It looks like a gun with a barrel. The material is similar to plastic. What else can you see about this weapon? It is charged. Do you know the name of this planet? Mars. What does your body look like? Does it look like a human one? No. What do your hands look like? How many fingers are there? 4 in one big one. There are membranes and claws. What does your head look like? Like a lizard. What do you feel now? Sadness. Why? I have a long mission and I will have to leave the family. Further, our hero said that his mission is connected with the regular monitoring of the Earth. Their detachment consists of 300 fighters, and their civilization is much more developed than that of the Earth, and assistance was carried out with the consent of the people. So, we will see how well Elon Musk can fly to Mars. If he gets there, he will have a great chance to make contact with reptiloids. Some people unfamiliar with each other from different countries, in a state of trance in similar terms and independently of each other, tell how the aliens transferred them to some kind of extraterrestrial city that looks more like a huge laboratory. One of these abductions, Teresa experienced, who later turned to Oklahoma psychotherapist James Point DePrise. She was tormented by nightmares. In a state of trance, Teresa said that tall, pale, human-like creatures delivered her to a huge city on a planet called Clay Guy. Although there was no external source of light similar to our sun, the sky gleamed with some kind of artificial dim greenish-gray light. The quarters were completely built up with gray one-story houses, resembling barracks, and strange creatures moved around the streets, looking like mutant people with transparent skin and had a pale spot instead of a face. Fortunately, as the intergalactic guide explained to Teresa, this visit was only a guided tour, after which she returned to Earth along with nightmares. Have you ever had glimpses of memories from past lives, or maybe strange dreams about other planets? If yes, please tell us about it in the comments. And do not forget to put like if you like this video. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more.